Here's a fun tip to try with your children this week, and it will help them develop all sorts of skills, and you too. It's fun, it's easy, it's simple, it doesn't take much time at all, and you and your kids can do it no matter how busy you are or your family is. I'm Cherie Fogarty, founder of the Habit Gratitude Blueprint for Busy Families, as well as the Best Life Blueprint for Busy Families, and author of How to Get Happier and More Grateful Children in Just 21 Days, where we show you how to get happier and more grateful children and be happier and more grateful yourself. And this week's tip is to play a game. I call it a game with my kids. And that is, the next time you run into a roadblock or a stumbling block or a problem, or your children do, or you all do, come up with 10 solutions to the problem. I don't remember in the hundreds if not thousands of books and articles and research studies I've read now on personal development and parenting and business and everything else over the years, my passion and what I love, where I first heard that or learned that. But I remember learning, and we've put this into practice in my home many, many times, that there are always 10 solutions to every problem. Now that said, does not mean you're gonna like any or all of the solutions. And I always tell that to my children. And there have been cases where we have come up with 10 solutions to some problem, and there's not one of them any of us want to do, but you gotta pick one anyway. Or keep coming up with solutions so that there is one that you wanna do. So try it this week. It's super simple, it's fun. Make it a game and write it down, or just tick them off on your hand. But whatever the problem or solution is, just think of 10 solutions to it. Now, as an example, my daughter the other day had a project that was due, and she had worked really hard, way ahead of time, thought she'd given herself enough time, but because she's a little too much of a perfectionist, which we're also working on, she didn't have everything done, and she was really upset. And so I gave her, we talked about it, we discussed what the options were, and I'll just give you 3. I'm not going to give you the 10 things that we came up with. But one was to take the extra day, turn it in late, and get a lower grade. She didn't like that option. One was to turn it in as is, and then complete the parts that were missing, and take a hit on the grade, but maybe not as much. She didn't like that option either. The other one was to turn it in as is, and just, it was good enough. It may not have been up to her standards, but it was good enough. She didn't like that option either. And then we went through the process of all of these things. It turned out that she decided, because she had to pick one. She didn't like any of the options. But as we said, this is the situation. We are in this situation. You can't change the situation. You can only respond to it. You can only come up with solutions. What are your 10 solutions? Is there one you like? There was not one she liked, but she picked one anyway. And as it turns out, everything worked out fine. She's a great student. Her teacher loves her. She works really hard. It was clear to her teacher how much effort she had put in to it, and that it was still better than most people's projects because she had done such a good job. Her teacher, it turned out to be a wonderful experience for her, because here's the thing. She picked an option. She came up with options. She didn't like any of them, but she had to pick one, right? You had to act. You can't just do nothing. I even gave her the option of staying home and taking detention, because I wouldn't write her an excuse saying she was sick when she wasn't. Taking a detention and missing half the day, same thing, taking a detention. I didn't like those options, but those were one of the 10. She didn't like them either, because she didn't think that was a good idea, and that was fine, and I concurred. But it was an option, right? One of 10 things. We talked them through, but it worked out. So the lesson she learned, among others, was plan further ahead. Don't plan on finishing that the day before. If you have a big project, finish the week before. So good lessons there, right? But also she learned that even if you don't like the solutions, when you come up with them and you act and you take action, more often than not, things turn out. And even if she had gotten a ding on her grade or hadn't been able to, she never did finish it exactly like she wanted to, but there was a lesson in that too. Because even though it wasn't up to her standards and perfect, although there's no such thing, as I always tell her, she still impressed her teacher, and her teacher recognized the time and effort she put in. So there are all sorts of lessons. But anyway, that was just one example. But make it a game, make it fun. Maybe you can't come up with 10, that's okay. Strive for 10. If you keep really thinking, more often than not you can, and make them fun and fanciful too. You can come up with really funny ones if you need if it's a basic problem and you just, you know, you come up with 3 or 4 that are viable solutions. Come up with some crazy fun ones too. Make it a game with your kids. And again, it doesn't matter how young they are. It can be any type of problem, from not finding the outfit they want to wear to, you know, having an AP calculus test tomorrow that you didn't study for, although you should have, you know, whatever the case may be. So that's it. Super quick tip, super simple and fun. You can do it no matter how busy you are or your family is. You're already trying to figure out the problem. And the good thing about this tip also is that what it does is it empowers your children, right? Instead of being a victim to circumstance, instead of blaming or complaining, they're taking control and affecting their destiny. So again, my daughter was, you know, started the blaming and complaining thing, and I'm like, whose responsibility was this? You knew the project. It was hers, 100%. I said complaining about it now serves zero purpose, right? But isn't that for many people what the inclination is, to start blaming or complaining, you know, or whatever the case may be? But that doesn't serve any purpose. And nobody wants to hear it. And as my kids know, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to listen. There's venting times and there's not. We needed to take action. It was, you know, 11 o'clock at night and she had to go to bed. And I wasn't going to let her stay up all night in 7th grade to do a project. And lessons in that also. So blaming and complaining, not taking responsibility, none of those things are good for your kids. But this little tip, as simple and basic as it is, gives your kids more control over their lives and of their happiness, because they're in control. Even if they don't like the answers, they're in control. So use it today. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. And as always, if you want more tips, tools, ideas, and strategies for how to get happier, more grateful children, how to teach your children to create their best lives, head over to SherieFogarty.com after the episode and sign up for email updates. Follow us on Facebook or check out any of the links below for additional information. So thank you so much for watching, as always, and thank you for being a mom or dad and for everything you do to be the best one you can be, including watching this video, including putting the tips into action. It's a hard job, and I honor you for your commitment to being the best one you can be. And remember, we can have happier, more grateful children, we can be happier, more grateful ourselves, and we can teach our children. Inspire, motivate, and empower them to create their best lives while we create ours. And we can change the world, one child and one family at a time, because really that's the only way to do it. One child and one family at a time, starting with our own. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.